Husqvarna Motorcycles has been tinkering with their Norden 901, and this is what they've come up with, the Norden 901 Expedition. Husqvarna took the Norden and upgraded the suspension and outfitted the bike with a selection of parts from their technical accessories catalog to create a Norden that's made to explore further. To fully appreciate the new Norden 901 Expedition, Husqvarna arranged for a 2-day ride all over the Western Cape of South Africa that covered several hundred Ks of high-speed primary roads, twisty windy canyon tar, big graded dirt roads, and a proper serving of 2 tracks and technical trails with a few deep sandy sections for good measure. To put some of the expedition's new parts to use, we camped out between the 2 ride days, and we got to ride with Mike Horn and Cyril Dupre. But before we get into that, it's helpful to know a bit about the Norden 901. Launched in November of 2021, the Norden 901 is a unique variant of KTM's 890 platform built for traveling and exploring use. And it's a bike I like, so much so that I bought one. To create the Norden, Husqvarna took the 890's great chassis and motor and combined it with their own parts and styling to create an approachable adventure bike that's comfortable for long days spent riding. The Norden devours miles on road, and its plush suspension works well in the dirt as long as you aren't trying to hammer whoops or hang with your buddies on 890 Adventure Rs and the rough stuff. Ride the Norden aggressively off-road and you'll quickly find the limits of what the stock suspension can handle. This is why many Norden owners, myself included, have taken to sourcing WP Explore suspension off an 890R, or we've been throwing down the big bucks for WP's outstanding Pro Component suspension. Husqvarna has been watching how riders are using and modifying their Nordens, and it explains why the most significant change on the Norden 901 Expedition is the switch to WP Explore suspension. As a result, front and rear travel is increased to 240mm or 9.4 inches, and the fork tubes are now 48mm in diameter. This suspension change increases ground clearance to 270mm or 10.6 inches, up from 252mm or 9.9 inches. Seat height increases by 21mm to 874mm or 34.4 inches in low, and 894mm or 35.2 inches in the high position. The wheelbase grows by 16mm to 1,529mm. It's important to note that while this is the exact same suspension found on KTM's 890 Adventure R, the Norden 901 Expedition has its own Quinn-Cody consulted suspension settings that make the Expedition distinctly not an 890R. From the technical accessories catalog, Husqvarna has equipped the Norden 901 Expedition with their connectivity unit, heavy-duty skid plate, center stand, ergo heated seat, heated grips, touring windshield, and side bag set. Explorer mode is also included as standard, and the bike has a beautiful new livery. Off the dealer's floor, the bike is very capable and ready for any sort of ride. Want to go for an afternoon rip? Drop the bags and you're good to go. Heading out for a multi-day adventure? Load the bags with your personal kit, add your navigation of choice, and go have fun. As a result of these added parts, the Norden 901 Expedition gains 23 pounds over the Norden 901. The sum of these parts is much greater than the $1,300 price increase that the Norden 901 Expedition, MSRP $15,799, commands over the Norden 901, MSRP $14,499, making the Expedition quite the value. On-road, the Expedition is an awesome road bike that's great for long days covering big distances or carving canyons. The Expedition's softer suspension settings do translate into more suspension dive when you're hard on the stoppers or more squat when you're giving it all the beans compared to an 890R, but the Expedition is much more comfortable on-road, where the first-gen 890Rs can certainly feel harsh. The Expedition comes with the same Pirelli Rally STR tires as found on the Norden, and these tires do great on the road. In the dirt is where the Expedition's new suspension really shines. At speed, the bike is composed and comfortable, so crushing hundreds of Ks at graded or gravel roads are about as good as it gets. The only asterisk here were a couple of occurrences of momentary headshake that myself and a few other riders in our group all experience randomly when really cranking in the dirt. The chassis instantly recovers, and setting the suspension toward the sport end of the settings listed on the top of the airbox certainly helped, but didn't quite eliminate the problem. To be perfectly clear, the few instances of headshake didn't erode any of my confidence in the bike or cause me to slow my pace, but it's definitely something I'm looking forward to seeing if I can tune out of the bike given more time to play with the settings. As the trails became rougher and more technical, the Expedition quickly proved that its new suspension can handle a much more aggressive pace than the Norden. The Rally STR tires certainly aren't the best off-road tires out there, but I personally had a great time riding them through deep sand and smacking into all sorts of embedded rocks and obstacles at street pressure. That street pressure may have also been a contributing factor to the headshake. While sessioning a loop for photos that featured a few embedded rocks to jump and puddles to G out in, I took a minute to dial in some additional compression damping to the shock. I was pleased with how my settings changes enabled some additional pace before I was able to find the bump stops. It's so good to finally have fully adjustable suspension as standard on this bike. Thanks, Husky. Even when you push the Expedition to the end of its suspension stroke, the chassis stays composed, and I'm excited to get this bike on some local tracks to see what it can really do. If the suspension was the only change that Husqvarna made to the Expedition, it would still be worth every penny of its new MSRP. For riders who want a Norden with more off-road chops without giving up any of the comfort, the Expedition is your bike. Yet the Expedition is more than awesome new boingers, as many of the technical accessories are great parts to have as standard. My favorite of these parts is the heavy-duty skid plate, which proved its worth on our 2 days of riding. Other bikes took multiple naps in the sand, Cyril rode over some large logs, and plenty of rocks were all soaked up by the skid plate without issue. The heated grips and heated pilot seat add some welcome comfort to riding in colder weather, and the center stand is also a welcome serving of convenience to have. Keeping the center stand, however, depends on you. If you're dialed in on how to tie up a bike or use a trail stand, this may be something you opt to remove. The touring windscreen is also something I would personally swap out for the Norden windscreen. The Expedition's touring windscreen was buzzy for my 6-foot 1-inch frame while wearing a motocross style helmet on road, and once it gets dirty, it's hard to see through. It can also catch you in the face if you're getting after it off-road, as another rider in our group named Brian learned the hard way. To be fair, on-road performance is subjective, and many riders in our group of different heights and with different helmets all reported great performance out of the touring windshield on road, so try it out and see how it works for you. The only other question mark is the side bag set. The pre-production units that we used are a solid concept. They're 18-liter aside soft bags that have quick releases for easy removal from the bike. Yet, after a couple days of admittedly aggressive riding, we were witnessing seam separation and quick releases that weren't so quick anymore thanks to dirt and mud ingress. The good news is that we provided a good sample set of real-world use for Husky to evaluate, so I'm eager to see what the production units look like. After 2 days and hundreds of Ks of outstanding riding, the Husqvarna Motorcycles Norden 901 Expedition proved that it's another awesome 890 platform variant. The Expedition enhances the Norden's travel-specific optimizations, retains its all-day riding comfort, and its selection of technical accessories and upgraded suspension give it the legs to go further and more aggressively off-road. The 890 platform works like this now. The Norden is the road-focused and dirt-capable option. The KTM 890 Adventure R is the dirt-slaying road-capable variant, and the Expedition slots right in the middle. It's comfortable on-road and capable off-road. Call it a 50-50 bike that off the dealer's floor is essentially ready to tackle a BDR or just about any other ride you can dream up. The Husqvarna Motorcycles Norden 901 Expedition is a great bike. Its comfort and capability quickly got me daydreaming about places to take it in the US, and that's a great sign. If a bike is a hoot to ride in any situation and it inspires you to ride more, it's a bike you want in your life. If this video was of value to you, please like, subscribe, and let us know what you think, or post up any questions on the Norden 901 Expedition in the comments below. Thanks for watching.